Good evening, everybody. How are we doing? Welcome to my January live stream. It's been, I think it was a week before Christmas, the last one I did, which would have been the McCartney 3 listening party, which was different, certainly, and there was a few people saying they wouldn't mind me doing that kind of thing again, so maybe we may do that kind of thing. So, yes, hello, everybody. Hope everybody's keeping well. It's utterly boring again in the UK here. We're all locked down, nothing to do, nowhere to go, everywhere's shut. So I'm stuck in my room again. I'm going to be here for the next probably about an hour or so. And we'll just have a chat about. I've got a few things lined up as I always do. But if anybody's got any questions that you want to ask, then please send them through. I'll try and get to them all. I'll try and stick to near the bottom of the chat. So if I miss your question out, it's probably not deliberate. Send it through again, and I'll try and get to it. So I think what happened just before I went live, there was a few people having a chat, and that was nice to see. I got asked a question by a local bloke. Hello, local bloke. I hope you got your package okay. Local bloke was the winner of my McCartney 3 competition that I did just before Christmas. You're asking what I think of John's Menlove Avenue. I don't think my life would be worse in any way if I didn't have it. You know, it's alright, it's nice to have. It's a few extra songs here and there, but it doesn't set the world on fire, does it? Well, I don't think anyway. It's alright. I'm glad it exists. I think that's probably about the best thing I can say for it. Hello, everybody who's saying hello. How are you all doing? Right. I've just seen something interesting. I didn't know whether I was going to mention this or not. Paul or Nothing. Hello, how are you doing? A bit of shameless self-promotions, but me and Andrew are recording a podcast tomorrow. We are. I've never recorded a podcast before, and I must say I'm quite nervous about this, but I'm going to hopefully do my best. I will let everybody know where you can get it and whatever once it's available. But there is a clue in my background as to what podcast it is I'm doing tomorrow. I'm not going to say any more, but there is something there that gives a clue as to what we're going to be talking about. But it should be fun anyway. Hi Anthony, hi Gerard. It's freaking cold. It blooming is. Where is that? Where are you, Gerard? Are you in England? It's mild. It's got a bit milder here in the last few days. It was flipping cold a couple of days ago. What else have we got coming through? Andrea, hi Andrea. Hi Andrew. After 1 month worth of listening, better McCartney 3 or Egypt Station. So I am. I don't want to get too hung up on McCartney 3 because I think I've done it to death, but McCartney 3, I am enjoying McCartney 3 still. I do really like it, but Egypt Station is another level above in my rankings anyway. But that's not to the detriment of McCartney 3. I think it's a really good album, better than I was expecting it to be, but Egypt Station is a notch higher definitely for me. Hi Pepper Chips, how you doing? Tom's got Venus and Mars and Genesis EP on vinyl this week. Nice. Which Venus and Mars is it, Tom? Is it an original? Is it the archive collection? Is it the red one? The sort of half red, half yellow one. That's a nice one. That's the one I've got. I like that. You got your package sent through. It took about a month from when I sent off that McCartney 3 winners package. Took about a month for it to get to its destination, but I'm glad it's got there. Yes, Happy New Year, Mike. Hello, everybody. Northern Ireland. Hi, Emmett. How you doing? Hi, Anthony. Do I prefer? What does Anthony say? Do I prefer George's more spiritual albums or pop albums? For me, Cloud 9 is his best album, and self-titled album also great. I think I've said this before. I like Happy George the best. So I'm not too fussed whether it's spiritual or not. I tend to prefer happy or not. So something like Extra Texture isn't my favourite because it can be a bit dour. Same with Dark Horse. But Happy George, and I include some of the spiritual stuff, so maybe like My Sweet Lord, for example. Yeah, Cloud 9. Cheer Down is one of my favourite George songs just because it's so flipping happy. I like Happy George. There's my answer. Hello, my Uncle Richard is in. How are you doing? Hope you're well over there. Nice to come and see you at some point one day when we can. Gerard's saying, is that the remastered Venus and Mars? Well, the one I've got is the archive collection one. Yep. It's a shame we didn't get a remix for Venus and Mars. I think if any Paul McCartney album needed a remix, it was Venus and Mars. And maybe, I wonder if, maybe for the 50th anniversary they'll need another way to sell it, and that might be the way that we eventually get a remix. I don't know. We'll have to see. Kian, whichever, I don't know which one it is. Am I getting the Bob Dylan 1970 sessions? Yes, I am, coming out end of February. Last week in February, that's coming out. So if anybody's not heard about that, it is, I think it was the 1st of May 1970. George and Bob spent a day and they recorded something like 20 songs, and it was what spawned the couple of Bob Dylan songs that ended up on All Things Must Pass. That, I think that was on there. So Bob's got a 1970 set coming out end of February, and I don't know whether it's all 20 songs that he did with George, but certainly the vast bulk of it is coming out. So yes, I will be getting that. Definitely looking forward to that. I just got 6 CDs worth of Bob Dylan yesterday, actually, in the post. I finally got, I don't know if you can see it up there. It's up there though. The More Blood, More Tracks. The Blood on the Tracks 6-disc bootleg series. I finally got that yesterday. It's been out about 2 years, so I'm working my way through that at the moment. Obviously that's a classic album. So right, where are we? I'm going to try and catch up here. I'll come back to that in a second. I just wanted to show you a couple of things while we're here. I've got a few things. So a couple of books that I got for Christmas. So, and one of these is because I kept getting told about it on my live streams last year, so I put it on my Christmas list. So thank you to whoever it was who recommended me this book, You Never Give Me Your Money, about how, well, I presume it's going to get into financially how it all went wrong and how that lasted for decades. But as you can see, I have literally only just started that, but I'm enjoying that so far. One that I haven't started yet, because I'll probably wait until I finish this, is I think this just came out last year. This is the John Lennon. I've never really sort of gone into massive depth about what was happening with John in 1980, other than the obvious double fantasy and the sessions after that. So it'd be interesting to sort of see what was happening during that year. So a couple of books there. If anybody's read those, let me know what you think. Be interested to hear that. I'm gonna have to keep my throat lubricated. It's whiskey tonight, so cheers anybody who's going to share a whiskey with me. Oh, that's got some punch. Gerard says, when is it coming out? I don't know what you're talking about there. I'm not sure which you're talking about there, Gerard, because I think there's a few people been talking about a few things. Hopefully we aren't too far away from a Plastic Ono Band announcement. Definitely, there's kind of there's things been hinted and teased at from people who are insiders and people who know what's coming, and it's the kind of level of detail that you don't normally see until it's about to be announced. But is there a delay because of COVID? That might be causing production issues. It could be causing nervousness in terms of them being able to sell the product if record shops aren't open everywhere. So I don't know whether that's delaying things at the moment, because it did say, there's that Plastic Ono Band website that did say that an announcement was coming January, and the wording on that has now changed to say something like announcement early 2021. So what does early mean? I don't know. So I think they seem to have been just giving themselves a bit of slack for whatever reason. So we'll see. But I hope it's soon anyway, because there's certainly quite a lot of information out there now, and it looks like there's a lot of Yoko stuff. So the Yoko Plastic Ono Band album that was released the same day as John's, but of course it's John, it's Ringo, it's Klaus Vormann doing the music on it. So it's very much a part of those sessions, and a worthy part of those sessions. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of the Yoko sessions on there. So I'm personally glad about that. Some people might not be, but I am. I've actually been listening to Yoko today, coincidentally. Nice little segue there. Wasn't planning that. This came in the post today. Yoko's album from, when was it? I think it was about 10-12 years ago, something like that. But that's a really nice album, so I've been playing that today. Very nice. What's this? Crazy for Beatles. A friend used to refer to Beatles seasons around their birthdays. We're in George season. Yes, well, we've got less than a month till George's birthday, haven't we? So, okay, interesting. How split up is it? I suppose we've got Paul and Ringo clash a bit, don't they? Do they? Yeah, Ringo July, I think. Interesting. Okay. Hi, Argentina. Fernando. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Right, so, what's this, Pepper Chips? You bought the latest Mojo magazine. There's an interesting but sad article about John's last days. I haven't seen that, so that might be something to have a look out for. I might get that, so I guess there's probably a lot of crossover with this. Does it mention this at all? Yeah, okay. So, yes, hello everybody. I'm just trying to find... Dobby the dog doesn't want Yoko on the plastic Ono band. Well, I think it's going to be there. But, yeah. If people don't like the Yoko stuff, they can just leave those discs, can't they? Well, I suppose if you're buying the full deluxe package, it's going to come with it. But, yeah, you've always got the choice whether to listen to it or not. Yeah, so... Hi P, how are you doing? Are you okay? I like Yoko's poems more than her music, especially for the Season of Glass album. Okay, I don't think I've really read much Yoko poetry, although sometimes when she's on Twitter, for example, and something comes out, it's hard to tell sometimes what's poetry and what's floating around in her head. But, yeah, okay. Right, keep your questions coming through. If I've missed it, apologies. Send it through again. I will try and catch it, like I say. What have we got? I've got a couple of quiz questions, as I usually have. So let's hit you with the first one while we're doing that. So the question is, what year is this album from? There you go. The soundtrack to the US versus John Lennon. What year was that from? Let's see who's got the best internet connection and can get that answer through first. Hi, Jose. I'm a big fan of the Beatles. Cheers. Yoko's on Twitter. Yes, Yoko is definitely on Twitter. Absolutely. As is Sean. They're worth following. Hi, Mike. Any non-Beatles albums I'm looking forward to this year? I'm a bit out of touch. Really, I've hit that phase of life where everything I'm buying is old stuff and there's very little new stuff, and I don't even know who's bringing an album out this year. So I would love to be able to answer that question, but I can't think. Oh, we've got some answers coming through to my quiz question. We've got some wrong answers coming through, but the first correct answer is in Lucas. 2006. Well, that's the date that's on the back of the disc anyway. So I assume that this came out in 2006 from that. Yep, it's 15 years ago. It's amazing, isn't it? How time goes. 15 years. Right. Hi, Sai. Will I be buying the new Joe Strummer album as it's on George's Dark Horse label? I won't. I hope people enjoy it who are buying it, but I won't be. I've got a thing where I sort of I took a bit against the Clash a long time ago, and I've never changed on that. So no, it's not. That's not an area that I will be delving into. And you can all tell me that I'm missing out on some really good stuff, and fair enough. I have tried. It's just not for me. Sam can do a great Yoko impression. So yeah, Sam is Paul or nothing. Sam likes to do impressions. I've been listening, Sam, to a few of your podcasts lately. Very, very good. And each one that I listen to is making me nervous about whether I can compete with them. But we will see. But yes, it's certainly. I'm looking forward to hearing some impressions tomorrow when we do our recording. Hi, Ben Walker. Wondered what your thoughts are on the Oasis get-together without Liam rumoured this week. Well, I think that was the tabloids just choosing their words very carefully as clickbait. It's not. I don't think it is an Oasis get-together. It sounds to me like it's just a lot of songs that could have potentially been Oasis songs that Noel's now talking about making versions of. And to be honest, a lot of his first two solo albums, or the High Flying Birds albums, a lot of those were just Oasis leftovers. So I don't think of this as any kind of Oasis to get together without Liam, unless I've missed the point, unless I've misread it. but it just seems to me like it's Noel going back and now doing some of those songs. Maybe because he hasn't written many good ones of his own lately. Sorry. I shouldn't say that about Noel, because I love Noel. I'm new to your channel, says Vera. Hello, Vera. Welcome. How are you doing? Oasis without Liam is no Oasis, says P. Yes, Oasis without Noel is no Oasis either. It's, you know, the rest of the band changed around them, but it's got to have Liam and it's got to have Noel, or it ain't Oasis. I think that's something that Oasis fans would definitely agree on. What is my favourite song on McCartney 3, says Vera. Well, I do really like Deep Deep Feeling. I think just as a... It's not... I don't even really think of that as a song massively, to be honest. It's more a sort of a soundscape. But I really like Deep Deep Feeling. Pretty Boys is, I think, a lovely song and one that improves as I listen to it. And I might be one of the few that really likes Deep Down as well. I think that's just a really nice groove, is that. So there you go. So where are we? A remix of Venus and Mars needs My Carnival as the opening track. Well, they can put it as a bonus track if they want, but I think a remix of Venus and Mars will be the same album it's always been. But it's just that it's just always been a muddy kind of a sound. Even the remaster that came out a few years back for the Archive collection, it still was that muddy kind of sound. Now whether they can't do anything with it because that's how it was recorded or not, I don't know. But we will see. Do I think that for each Macca album there will be a 50th half-speed master like a Ram one this year? Maybe. I really hope so, and I wouldn't be surprised because, you know, this is what happens, isn't it? They're always finding new ways to sell us this stuff all over again. If we want to, I've said before, I don't agree with this term cash grab because nobody's forcing anybody to buy anything. If the announcer's a half-speed master and somebody thinks, well, that's not for me, I don't need that. Don't buy it. You know, if people buy it when they don't think they need to, then, well, that's our own fault for doing that. But sorry, to get back to your question, do I think there will be? I would love to think there'll be a Ram one in a few months' time, maybe for a record store day, and I think there's a good chance, hopefully. And if the McCartney one sold well enough last year, if a Ram one sells well enough this year, if it comes, then, you know, why wouldn't he? I hope so anyway, because I'm really loving the half-speed masters of Flaming Pie and McCartney. Just think they sound really, really nice. What do I mean by muddy? Well, I don't know. It just feels like there's not the clarity there. If you listen to something like Wings at the Speed of Sound, I think that sounds really good. Whether you like the album or not's another matter. But you know, that was as an Abbey Road recording. It was really recorded well. It sounds really clear. But I just don't think Venus and Mars. Is it got? I don't know what it is. Is it a reverb that's through it? That's something that just doesn't seem to have the clarity. I'm waffling. I think I'm probably waffling there, but that's what I think anyway. Have I listened? Hello, Graham. Have I listened to the Mono Ram album? Yeah, I've got that in the. It's got it on CD, hasn't it? In the Ram. I haven't got the vinyl. I keep looking at there's a vinyl version available, and I might get it at some point. The thing I don't like about the mono version of Ram is Monkberry Moon Delight. So when he starts singing, that should really punch at you. But it just feels so low in the mix that it doesn't have that oomph that vocal should have. So yes, I've heard it, and I think some of it sounds really nice, but it just really annoys me when Monkberry Moon Delight, you can't really hear him singing as loud as I think you should do on that song. So, have I... hi, Matthew Dale. Hi, have you listened to the Lemon Twigs' most recent album, Songs to the General Public? If so, what do I think of it? I'm the reason you discovered them. All right, okay. Well, there's a... You're welcome. I have listened to it. It hasn't grabbed me as much as the other two albums yet, so I need to spend more time with it. I haven't actually even bought it yet. I've listened to it on Spotify a couple of times. So I'm going to spend more time on it, but so far it hasn't grabbed me as much as the others, but hopefully it will do at some point soon. Waffling is good for podcasting. I'll remember that for tomorrow. That'll be my excuse anyway. I've just read Paul said there was enough recorded for McCartney 4. Okay. I don't know. I mean, we've waited 40 years to get McCartney 3. I don't think... Do we want McCartney 4? Is anybody desperate for a McCartney 4? I think possibly what's more likely is that we'll get... like the Explorers edition of Egypt Station, we might get something like that for McCartney 3 with more sessions on. I'm not even convinced we'll get that, but we may well do. We'll see. My voice is going already, folks. I'm going to have to keep it up with the whiskey. Right, so, Mike, I really hope Off the Ground will get an archive release. It's a big favourite of mine. That would be splendid. I would love that. You could include the Paul is Live concert in there. There was a really good making of the album documentary as well, wasn't there? Where they went off to George Lucas ILM, and where they was filming the Off the Ground video and doing all the flying, and then you see them doing the album cover with the legs hanging over the blue screen. So I'd love to have a good copy of that, because I don't think I've seen that for 25 years. So I think, yeah, there's probably a lot of stuff that you could have in an Off the Ground archive, and maybe that's what we'll get. If he doesn't do London Town Back to the Egg this year, then maybe that might be a possible one that we could get. We will see. Graham, you've got the mono vinyl. Brilliant. A mono vinyl of Ram. Awesome. I think, I was looking at it. It's available if I want to get it, and I keep thinking about it. Maybe one day. Mitch, sad we didn't get any Beatles group releases in 2020. Hope we'll get some this year. So presume, well, we would have had Let It Be / Get Back the Peter Jackson movie, and maybe the box set might have come last year if the movie had, but surely that's got to be on for this year. I know it's scheduled for August for the movie. So Bond, they've already put that back to October, haven't they? Is that the earliest that they think that it's feasible for cinemas? I don't know. But I suppose for the Peter Jackson film, it's not like they're going to be packing out theatres nights and weeks in a row, is it? It's going to be a 1 or 2 nights, and get there if you can on those couple of nights. So we'll see, but surely let It Be and Get Back has got to be this year. Where did I get the Yellow Submarine Lego set behind me? Well, I can't say where that was bought from, because I didn't buy it. It was a Christmas present. So I don't know where they got it from, but I would assume it's available from all good Lego retailers. There's that other one, isn't there, that's out at the moment, the Four Faces one. Has anybody got that one? I was not particularly bothered about getting that one, but that took me about 6 hours to put that together, and which was good fun. But yeah, I like my Yellow Submarine Lego. Well, I must do, otherwise I wouldn't have given it such a prominent place there, would I? What else have we got? Excuse me a moment. We need All Things Must Pass Deluxe Edition. We do. We need it. I need it. And I don't know, I get the feeling it feels like Plastic Ono Band's coming first. Could be wrong. While we're on the subject, hope Olivia's recovering well from COVID. She's been in hospital with that. Now, whether that's... I doubt that would delay anything, because announcements can all be done. I assume any work that she's had to do with it is largely done. But... yeah, it feels as though it's going to be Plastic Ono Band first and then All Things Must Pass, but they might surprise us. It might be the other way around, but surely it's going to be coming at some point. No McCartney 4, just give us actual bonus scrats? Actual bonus tracks. Screw the demo versions. You want an updated version of Water Spout. Okay, remind me what era that is. Was that kind of late 70s, early 80s, wasn't it? So maybe that'll come at some point. Hi, Andrew, says Cherry. Am I a Mary Hopkin fan? I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I could name one song of hers, and you know exactly which song it is I'm talking about. I appreciate her part in the story at that around that sort of 68, 69 period, but I've never investigated. Let's put it like that. Very, very good singer. There's no doubt about that. I think I just missed something there. I was about to start reading something out and it all just disappeared. Paul or nothing, Sam. You put that Yellow Submarine together in 30 minutes. Are you some like Lego genius or something? This was the first bit of Lego I'd put together since about 1980, so you know I was a little bit out of practice. I've just seen something from Pepper Chips. This is something I was thinking about earlier on today. This is weird. You have the Press to Play documentary on VHS, never found as a DVD. I was thinking about that documentary earlier on. I used to watch that loads. I really enjoyed that because it kind of focused more. It was almost like they were reluctant to mention his new album. It's mentioned a few times as the press video, but it seems was it Richard Skinner, the DJ who looking on Miami Vice with his jacket sleeves rolled up, who was interviewing him, and he seemed far more interested in asking Paul about his sort of solo career up to that point. But yeah, that would be, you'd have to have that in a Press to Play archive collection. That would be fantastic. Never been on DVD. It's a shame. Stuff like that should be out there. Yeah. So, hi Rami, how you doing? Do I think we will ever see a Beatles 2 like we had with Beatles 1? I don't, what, just 27 songs that got to number 2 in the charts. I don't know. I doubt it, because I think everything's, because it's almost, when would you release something sort of saying here's a load of second best stuff? I don't know. I don't think they would do that. But you know, there's, all right, you wouldn't necessarily argue it's their best 27 songs. It was 27, wasn't it? That's on Beatles 1, but it's a heck of a 27 songs, and there's hardly anybody in history who could put anything together. You know, maybe some groups or people could manage a top 10 that might sort of match the Beatles. Stretch it out to 27, then I think they probably stand on their own. The fact that they could put out another 27 song compilation just as good, and probably another one that wouldn't slip back, that's what to me sets them apart from everybody else, because nobody else is going to be able to sustain that quality throughout. Because there's things like, I think about like bands like the Bee Gees and the Kinks and such, like, where you think, wow, if you could put together a sort of 10, 15, 20, depending on how big a fan you are, list of songs that's absolutely up there, but is there the strength in depth? I don't know that there is. There will be for some people, but I don't know. Sai says, why am I not keen on Back to the Egg? I think it's one of his best. Paul is Rocky's best. Yeah, it is Rocky, and I seem to have been getting hammered a bit with this question lately. I can't remember what I've said something. Sure, it would seem at some point where I've said something about Back to the Egg, and loads of people have been picking me up on it. I like a lot of the songs on Back to the Egg. Don't get me wrong. I just as an album, as a start to finish listen, I just find it doesn't hold my attention like nearly every other Paul McCartney album does. But I like a lot of the songs on there. So let's just pull the vinyl out, shall we? And let's just spend a minute on this, because I want to clarify something, because I have been getting this quite a bit. So reception, well, fair enough. I mean, it's like the start of Egypt Station, isn't it, or whatever. It's just there to set the album up. It's not really anything. Getting Closer is a really good song. We're Open Tonight is nice. Spin It On is a good rocker. Again and again again. Yeah, Old Siam. I really like Old Siam, Sir. Arrow Through Me is a really good sort of like mid-tempo Macca. It's not a rocker. It's not a ballad. It's kind of halfway between, isn't it? Rockestra Theme, I think. I chop half the musicians out of it, and it might not have been. It might have been a bit less of a big old mess. Sorry. To You, After the Ball, Million Miles does nothing for me. Winter Rose, Love Awake is nice, doesn't do a great deal for me. Baby's Request is a really nice song. I do like Baby's Request. So there's a lot on there that I like, but just as an album, it's, you know, if I ever do these Macathons, as I call them, where I listen to, I might do it once every year or two, where I'll play all McCartney's albums and singles in chronological order. Back to the Egg's the first point where I think, oh, I've got to do Back to the Egg. It's the first point where I think, oh, I'll get through this, It'll be all right. And maybe that's a bit harsh, but there you go. That's my answer anyway. Robert, hello from New York. I'm really hoping to visit New York this year, but it's looking borderline at the moment. But that's the plan. I want to be there because it's my favourite place. I love New York. Argos has that 4-face one. Oh, the Lego, £100 plus. Wow, I think that one was maybe about £40 to £50. I think, but like I say, I didn't buy it, so I'm not certain. That's a lot, though, isn't it? £100. Hi, Ian. You've been turned on to Arlo Parks this week. If I'm looking for a new artiste, I don't know. I've not heard of Arlo Parks. That's a new one for me. I do get recommended stuff loads, and I thank everybody for doing that. But it's so hard to keep up. I just haven't got time to keep up with everything that I get recommended. But please, by all means, recommend me stuff. And some of it, you know, if you throw enough mud at a wall, some of it'll stick. So, Andrew, did you listen to the Lewison video I sent you from Jared? Yeah, I think I got most of the way through it. I think I'd heard it before. But it's always interesting. It's always fascinating listening to Mark Lewison. So yes, I did. Thank you. About 2 or 3 days ago, I think I listened to. It was quite a long one, wasn't it? I got about an hour of the way through it. So, but I've still got a bit more to do. Graham, yes, this was interesting. I did see about this. There's a Aunt Mimi sent a letter. I think she sent it to a journalist or something, didn't she? It's come uncovered. She sent a letter about a month after John died. She sent this letter just with sort of her thoughts about. She was talking about having spoken to John the day before, and yeah, John definitely said he was planning on coming home. Whether he said that regularly through the 70s or not, I'm not sure. But there's lots of different people for different reasons have mentioned about how there was clues that maybe something was planned in 1981. I expect some of it's mentioned in here, possibly. I will find out eventually. So, yeah. Do I have any music by Danny Harrison? I haven't. I would be interested because, you know, I've gone and listened to quite a lot of James McCartney stuff, and yeah, it's a mixed bag. Some of it I really like on James McCartney stuff. Some of it hasn't grabbed me so much. So I think definitely at some point I will get around to listening to some Danny. Yes. Yeah. Fair enough. Royal Blood. Oh, they're a loud band, aren't they? Isn't that just 2 of them? I think it's amazing. There's some good bands where there's just 2 people who make a heck of a lot of noise. I went to see the Black Keys live about probably 10 years or so, and that's just guitarist who sings and a drummer, and the noise that they make is just incredible. Yeah. So, favourite box set I have, says Key again. Key and Ken. I'm not sure which it is. I'm sorry. Favourite box set. I don't know. It's probably. You'd imagine it's probably there somewhere. I mean, well, these 3, the Wildlife, Wings Over Europe, Red Rose Speedway, in that box, the 71-73 box, that is probably my favourite box set that I've got. There you go. So I'm just going to let a few more comments come through, and I'll try and catch up with those in a second. But I just wanted to mention something. Yes, here it is. I've got a favourite. I now have officially, as of yesterday, a favourite Ringo Starr album, which is not something I've ever had before. And I've mentioned Ringo a few times lately, and I've not mentioned him enough also at the same time. But yeah, can anybody guess what my favourite Ringo album is that I've just for the first time ever declared a favourite Ringo album? Let me know in the comments, and I just want to talk about it for a little while. I'll just have a look at some comments while it's coming through. Hello, Oliver. I think you might have said that a couple of times. Hi, and I've missed it. How are you doing? You okay? Mike, you want to go and say you're an Englishman in New York? Yeah, like Sting. It's just absolutely, it's my favourite place I've ever been to. I've been twice, and there's hope to go for a 3rd time this year, but I don't know whether it's going to happen or not. Do I agree with the criticism aimed at the stereo box set, says Anthony? Which stereo box set do you mean? I don't know which one you mean. Is that relating to something that's been discussed above? I'm not sure. I'll try and catch your answer to that further down, and we'll see. We've got some Ringo answers coming in. So some people saying it's Ringo. Oliver definitely not suggesting Boku's Blues. Have we got a right answer? We have. A few people have got the right answer. My favourite Ringo Starr album, for anybody who still cares, is Goodnight Vienna. So I got this a few days ago. It arrived. And it's the 1992 edition that's got 3 bonus tracks. So it's got Back Off Boogaloo, which of course was a non-album single, and then it's got Blind Man and 6 O'Clock extended version. I think Blind Man was a B-side. Was it the B-side to Back Off Boogaloo? But anyway, the album, the main album as it is, I've been really enjoying this, and I've played this every day since I got it. I just really, it's such an easy listen. I really enjoy it. And there's one particular song on there that when it came on, I'm thinking, what the heck? This really reminds me of something. You know, sometimes when you hear a song that reminds you of something and you can't think what, and it bugs you for ages. And then it's the song Husbands and Wives. So I'm interested to see, does anybody... There'll be people out there who know the song Husbands and Wives very well, which is a cover of a Roger Miller song from 1966. I'll look that up. Can anybody say what song that might be reminding me of? I know, and I have 2 answers, and I've got the CDs here. But I just wonder whether anybody else has made the connection. Snookeroo's fun with Elton. I think Elton wrote it. It was an Elton John and Bernie Taupin wrote that song, didn't they? That's the one where he's talking about at the start about being from the north of England, and it sounds like it's autobiographical, but it wasn't actually Ringo who wrote it. I've lost track. What was I talking about? I don't know. The Beatles stereo box set. Going back to Anthony's question about something about criticisms of it. What was your initial comment? Do I agree with criticisms aimed at the stereo box set? So my next question has got to be which criticism aimed at the stereo box set? I guess seeing it there prompted you. I think I had so much fun with that set when it arrived on, when was it? 9th of September 2009, 9/9/9. I know they've tinkered with a couple of little bits that maybe they shouldn't have tinkered with, but I don't have any criticisms of it, apart from the fact that some of the cases, the colours on the album covers are kind of leaking onto the one that it's sat next to. So if you've got two next to each other, like some of that imprint is starting to go on the back of the cover in front of it. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but so anyway, I asked. God, I'm flitting backwards and forwards here. I asked if anybody made the same connection I did with Husbands and Wives as to what the heck that sounds like, and I've not seen anybody mention it yet. Husbands and Wives reminds you of Women and Wives. No, but that's a good point. No, it reminded me of something. I eventually thought it's Bob Dylan. It's definitely a Bob Dylan song, and then it took me a little while to work out which Bob Dylan song it was, and then I sussed it. It is From Another Side of Bob Dylan to Ramona. So the main sort of chorus line of Husbands and Wives, just to me, is identical to the end of each verse of To Ramona. Bob Dylan doesn't really do choruses, does he? He just has 28 verses in each song. But it's like the end of that. But also, I'd made that connection. I thought, yes, that's it. And I thought, no, that's not it. There's something else. There's something else that it absolutely reminds me of. And again, I was racking my brains. And this one might go a little bit more obscure. But I realised that it is Cooler Shaker, one of my favourite 90s bands. There's a B-side called Drop in the Sea on this Hey Dude single. If anybody listens to Drop in the Sea by Cooler Shaker, not now, you can when we're finished. And again, it's Husbands and Wives. So there's me thinking at first that Bob Dylan's ripped off Husbands and Wives, because I knew that it was an old song, but then Roger Miller wrote the song 2 years after that came out, so maybe Roger Miller was copying Bob Dylan a little bit. Don't know. So there you go. That's my that's my little Ringo section for tonight. But I am very much enjoying a good night Vienna. Yeah. So what have I missed while I've been rambling on? What have I missed? G'day from down under, Valina. How are you doing? Good to hear from you. You've been watching YouTubers, modern drummers saying what an underrated drummer Ringo is. Yeah, I've seen a few of those videos. Some of them where they're talking about it, some of them where they've done like a medley of different drummers drumming to different Ringo things, and yeah, he certainly gets a lot of love. Hi Joe, Mr. Mayo, how are you doing? Are you well? Have you bought any more variants of McCartney 3 in the last few days? Be interested to know which ones are you missing now. Because I know you must have nearly all of them now. Anthony's expanding on the Beatles stereo box set controversy. A lot of people say the mixers of the stereo box set aren't very good. Like bass boosting, I personally don't have any problem with the mixers, and the mono box mixers are a lot better. So yeah, well, so the stereo box has the same mixers of the Beatles albums as existed before, but they remastered it now. Whether they went a little bit heavy on the bass frequencies is open to argument, but they didn't remix it for that, or if they did, they certainly didn't. They kept it quiet if they did, and you prefer that. So yeah, the mono box is definitely different mixers because they were the mono mixers that were done back in the 60s. And yeah, generally, I think I know I did a video a few months back about sort of like the Beatles stereo versus mono mixers and which do I prefer. Got videos out there if anybody hasn't seen it, if anybody gives two hoots about that. And yeah, I certainly came to similar conclusions, but not exclusively. I think there's some occasions where the stereo versions are definitely up there and comparable. And there's a message there. It's a very nice message. It's a very worthy message, but I ain't reading it out because I don't want 70% of the people watching this to suddenly disappear and go somewhere else. So I'm not going to mention that one. How many discs is in the Dylan bootleg set? Is this the one that's coming out at the end of February? So first of all, just to clarify, it's not part of the Dylan bootleg series. It's a separate thing. A bit like, like that Rolling Thunder up there. Can you see that? I don't know if you even know if you can see it, but it's up there. The Rolling Thunder review. It wasn't part of the bootleg series. It was something separate. This is. I think it's 2 discs. I'm not quite sure. Certainly no more than 2 anyway. This has caught my eye. Graham, I met John inside the Dakota back in 1977. Wow. I bet nobody else... Well, can anybody else here say that they met John Lennon? He then said he was planning to get back to England just to surprise Mimi. Yeah. So he was saying that in 77 as well. There's a story to tell here, Graham. I don't know if you have the capacity to tell a full story somewhere online, but I think some people might like to know more about your visit with John. Inside the Dakota as well. Wow. Yeah, I imagine he was probably thinking it at various points during the 70s about coming back. How close he ever got, I don't know. Tom Petty Wildflowers 3 LP set sounds amazing. Highly recommend it, Andrew, says Liam. A friend of mine bought Wildflowers vinyl. I don't know if it was 3 albums. It might have been a smaller set. And yeah, he was really enjoying that. So I think there's a bit of a agreement between you there. You love the No song from Goodnight Vienna. That took me by surprise. Did that? All of us, it's a nice jolly little pop song, and all of a sudden he started talking about snorting cocaine and whatever else. So that took me a bit by surprise. Did that song when I heard that one. Sheffield and Beyond. Have I heard about the cancelled Dylan McCartney collaboration? No, I mean I've heard interviews with Paul where he said things about, it would have been interesting to work with Bob Dylan, and I know Bob Dylan's done interviews where he's been very complimentary about Paul McCartney, saying things like, you know, he's the only one I'm in awe of. I remember that's that sentence that Bob Dylan said just a few years ago, not too long ago. He said he can do everything. He's the only one I'm in awe of. But was there ever anything arranged that got cancelled? Did anything ever get to that stage? I don't know. Oliver has a problem with the 2010 version of Number 9 Dream. Do I agree? So that'd be the 2010 remaster. I don't know. I'd have to go and listen to it again. I've not noticed any issue with it. What is there anything specific, Oliver, that you're not happy with on it? I've not noticed. I saw a Glastonbury comment, and then I scrolled down to read all of it, and it disappeared. Here we go. Glastonbury officially cancelled for 2021. Although Paul had already mentioned in an interview it'd be bonkers to do it, he'd have likely bowed out anyway. Yeah, could you imagine if you were, well, he would be, if Glastonbury happened this year, it would be a week or two after his 79th birthday. If you were a 79-year-old, would you think that the right thing to do is to fly in or drive into a venue that's got 100,000 people in it? I don't think I'd be remotely interested in doing that. And you know, if it does eventually get back on, is it going to be too late for Paul to do it? Is it going to fit in with his plans in a particular year? Maybe the opportunity for him to do it has gone now. Well, do it again. I know he was due to do it last year. Rainblaze, anybody want a boiled sweet? I'll have a boiled sweet, please. I could definitely do with one for my my voice here. Joe, Mr. Mayo, still waiting for the McCartney 3 Coke bottle vinyl. Ordered. I think there's a bit of controversy there, isn't there? There's a few people not had. I need to put some stickers on my McCartney 3 vinyl plastic wallets, because there's two there. I was going to sort of quickly grab it and pull it out and show it. Look, I've got the Spotify Coke bottle, but I don't know which one it is. I need to put some labels on my plastic wallet on the outside so I know which one's which. It's very nice. It's a lovely looking thing. So I hope you get it soon. Where are we? Which bootleg box did I get of Dylan's? Says Gerard. So I'll show you. It's we're talking about the one that I said that I got yesterday. It's that one. More Blood, More Tracks. The Blood on the Tracks 6-disc version. It's got the full New York sessions for the album there. I think there's a lot of the stuff from was it Minneapolis where the rest of the sessions were done, that I think the tapes aren't around anymore, but this has got the full New York sessions, so that's nice. Nicholas, do I like the Rolling Stones? If so, which song or album is your favourite? Mine would be Gimme Shelter. So long-time viewers will may or may not have noticed that I've never really talked about the Rolling Stones on video. Yes, I like the Stones. They're not a topic that I'm interested enough to talk about, or go buying box sets of. But I've got a few CDs. I've got the old, probably the best one that I've got. Can I find it easily? I don't know whether I can. It's hard to find some stuff. Oh, here we go. I've got this one, the singles collection, the London Years, which is really old. I must have had this about 30 years. I must have got it in the really early 90s. But that's a real nice collection of singles up to, I think it's pretty chronological, and it goes up to the last songs on here, Sympathy for the Devil. But I would say my favourite Stones song is probably Jumpin' Jack Flash. I really like She's a Rainbow as well. That's always been a favourite of mine. But they're not a band that I particularly follow and keep an eye on what's happening. But you know, the flipping Rolling Stones. You know, you can't deny who they are, and I'm certainly not going to. And I've got a few other collections. I don't think I've actually got a Rolling Stones studio album. I've been looking at the Goat's Head Soup one that came out recently. I may well get that. Size on the Maker's Mark bourbon. My whiskey of choice tonight is a Tamnavulin single malt, which is it's not an expensive one, but it's nice. I would recommend it. It was either that or the Lagavulin, and that's a beast. But I've only got about that much left in the bottle, so I'm saving that for when I can chill and I've got time to appreciate it a bit more than I have tonight. I think Graham might be going into a bit more detail here about how he got to meet John Lennon in the Dakota building in 1977. My American girlfriend worked for the fan club. He appeared on the Old Grey Whistle test, saying what he missed from England, so he delivered said items. I know what those items are. They were the chocolate Olivers, weren't they? I actually put on Twitter, I've got my Twitter address down there if anybody is on Twitter and wants to follow, because I always say when I'm going to be doing videos or such like. But anyway, there's a relevance to me suddenly promoting Twitter. Just before Christmas, I went, in fact I think it was Christmas Eve or the day before, I went to a farm shop and they had chocolate Olivers. And I've never seen chocolate Olivers before, but I'd heard that this was the thing that John Lennon asked for. He was due to get paid £15, I think it was, to do this Old Grey Whistle test interview with Bob Harris. And he said, I don't want the £15. He said, just bring me some chocolate Olivers. And I saw these. I've never actually seen these things before. So I took a photograph of it and put them on Twitter. Right, wow, okay. So were you there in some sort of capacity with the fan club then? With your girlfriend at the time? Interesting. Mike says it'll be interesting to see if Paul ever gets back on tour after all this. Won't it just? Who knows? Who knows? Well, it's not going to be this year, is it? I think this year already feels like a bit of a write-off, but I don't want to get down. I don't want to get any more down than I already am about all this. Tim, hello Tim. Been meaning to ask you, please tell me you have the We All Stand Together picture disc. No, I don't. I didn't order that actually. I didn't feel the need for it, mainly because they also released it as a high-res download. So I thought, well, I'm getting that. I didn't feel the need for the picture disc. So yeah, I bought the high-res download of the A side and the B side instead. Right, where am I? Ruby Tuesday is Jason's favourite Stone song. Yeah, that's a great one. Definitely. Oh, the box set. Hi, David. Near me. Box set of Lola, Powerman and Money. I've been looking at getting the single album version of that. Potentially, I don't know if I'm enough interested to buy a box set, but I'd certainly like to get that came out a few months ago. Yeah. Oliver, what was my idea for MPL to hear? Okay, so I mentioned, what video was it? I did a video. They all blend into one in my memory, I can't remember. Oh, it was to do with what things we might get in 2021. And I think I mentioned something about, if anybody from MPL is watching this, please get in touch with me. Like that was ever going to happen, and of course it never did. So, okay. So what I was thinking of is archive collections, of course, so far have always just featured on an album of his, one of his studio albums, and what was going on around it at the time. And because we're now in the period where we're hitting the 50th anniversary of his solo career, I mean, we're beyond the start of it now, there's an awful lot of stuff that he hasn't released yet. So for example, there was no RAM sessions, there was no sessions, outtakes, demos or anything from RAM in the RAM archive, and there's very little from those other early 70s albums. So what I was thinking was, why not take the archive collection in a slightly different direction? And I would love to see an archive collection come out, hopefully, ideally this year, but it's not, I'm a realist, this ain't going to happen, and call it something like Paul McCartney Archive Collection, Rarities, 1970 to 75. Okay, and all those things that he didn't get out on the early archive boxes, but he wants to get out, and and if he wants to protect the copyright on them, they've got to come out within 50 years, which reminds me of something else I need to talk about soon. Put them in a rarities archive collection and give us loads of RAM demos, because if they don't come out in the next year, then if they do ever come out after that, he doesn't have copyright on them because of these weird EU copyright laws. So that was kind of my idea. And it kind of buys him a few years, because what you could then do is you could then have another one that's sort of 1976 to 80, for example, but that doesn't have to come out for another 5 years. So that essentially was my idea. That's what I was talking about with that. And what that just reminded me of is, does everybody know about this thing that's coming out in March, the Beatles in Japan? It's not an official Apple release, but it also feels like it's certainly not an illegal bootleg release. It's legal under the laws that exist. But I've got a little picture I can show you. Here we go. This is coming out. There is a vinyl version as well, which I think is a lot more expensive. I'm not getting that. The Beatles in Tokyo, 1966. And it's 2 CDs that's got. So they did 2 shows there. I'll bring this back up in a moment. Don't worry. I'll bring that back up soon. They did 2 shows there, and it's got both shows in full. But also it's got a DVD that's got the concert as well, and I think it was broadcast somewhere, and they've got apparently a pretty good transfer of a video of the concert. So I've certainly ordered that. I'm going to get that. I'll put that back up there. If you go to a website called, I think it's Townsend Music, TOWNSEND, Townsend Music, they're the people who are selling it. And it might be worth getting hold of. So it's not an official Apple release, but it's certainly not it's not an illegal bootleg. Let's put it like that. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that in case anybody didn't know about it. Okay, what have I missed? What have I missed? While I've been prattling on again for another few minutes. It must take forever rearranging those shelves behind you. Well, I try and do it in such a way that I don't have to rearrange them that often, because it is an absolute pain in the backside. I've done a little bit of rearranging earlier on today. I'm trying to make a bit of room. That can come out there. I've got some room up there for a John Lennon box set up at the top. I've got some room here for another big one, depending on what size All Things Must Passes, for example. So yeah, it's a constant shuffling of the deck to try and keep enough room for stuff. I need a bigger room, that's what it is. So yeah, there we go. Right, what's going on here? Is there a bit of disagreements going on with some people? I don't know. I'm not getting involved in that, whatever it is. Do I think the copyright thing is BS? Can they be broken? Well, it's a gamble, it depends. In theory, if I wanted to set up a record label, I could do that, and I could release stuff that's over 50 years old that's never been officially released. But the thing is, how confident do I feel if I get sued? I certainly wouldn't want to go up against the Apple lawyers, as in the Beatles Apple, because they can afford much better lawyers than I ever could. So I guess it's a gamble, it's a risk. But in theory, that the EU copyright law says that you're able to do it. So there we go. Where are we? What time is it even? It's 9:58, flipping heck. The hour is nearly gone. I can't believe it. I had one last quiz question that I was going to do. So I'll do that now. In fact, it's a 2-parter. So this album here, it's not the easiest cover to see because it's so dark, but hopefully you can tell what album I'm showing here. George Harrison, Live in Japan. It's a 2-part question. What year did this come out? And also, can you name the 2 cover versions that appear on this album? There you go. Who can tell me the 2 cover versions that appear on that album? I think it's 2. I'm pretty sure there's only 2 on there. I may be wrong. And I don't mean My Sweet Lord. This isn't some joke about him copying My Sweet Lord. So, where are we? Have we got anything else coming through? All the best, Anthony, was my introduction to McCartney's solo career, and I'll always enjoy it. I don't get how Sea Moon made it onto that album. It was also my introduction to his wider solo career. I just knew one or two singles before that, but let's put it this way. Until I bought that album, which I bought on cassette when it first came out, I didn't know Band on the Run as a song. I didn't know Jet. I didn't know Coming Up. You know, there's a lot of big songs. Listen to what the man said that I did not know until I bought All the Best. How did Sea Moon... Well, he's always had a soft spot for Sea Moon, hasn't he? Which he seems to have always liked that song. I like that song. 92, everybody knows that 1992 is what year this came out. And which were the two cover versions on it. So we've got some answers coming through. So 2 people have answered, and each of them has got one of them. So yeah, Roll Over Beethoven, and of course the one that might have been a little bit more tricky because it's not always easy to remember that it was a cover version, has Got My Mind Set on You. There you go. I'm learning to enjoy this album because for a lot of years I didn't really like this album, but I am definitely learning to enjoy it a lot more now. Right, okay, it is 10 o'clock. Wow, okay. Should we go for another? Should we carry on a little bit? I've got nothing to do. There is nothing to do in Britain at the moment because everywhere's shut. Gerard's really looking to see if they release a Bangladesh Super Deluxe box set. Yeah, you'd imagine if it's going to happen, it would be this year, with the back end of this year being the 50th anniversary. I hope there is, because it's something I don't know too much about, and I would like to explore it more. Graham John also signed your Beatles monthly #1. Oh, the #1 edition. Oh, excellent. And your Butcher cover. Brilliant. They were booking a ticket on the QE2 to sail into England. I wonder why. So if that was 77, if they were booking a ticket, I wonder why they just didn't. Why didn't they do it? I mean, they had time on the hands in that kind of period. It's. I guess that's something we'll never know. Why did he not do it? Cheer Down is great. Yeah, Cheer Down, as I think I said earlier on, it's one of my favourite George solo songs. Brilliant. Yeah, by Sheffield and Beyond. Yes, get on with your essay. Get your work done. Don't be blaming me if you're late handing it in. If I would have Lucho, is it? Hopefully I've said that right. If I would have to recommend a Paul song to a friend that has never listened to him, which would you choose? Well, it would absolutely depend on the friend, because what I might recommend to one person might be absolutely the wrong song to recommend to another person. So, if it was somebody who was complaining that, Paul McCartney, he only ever wrote ballads, he never did, he was the frog chorus and that was it. If it was one of them kind of people, I'd say, alright, well, he wrote Helter Skelter. I'd probably play something like that. Cut Me Some Slack that he did with the Nirvana guys a few years ago. So something like that. I forgot about Cloud 9, says Oliver. I did? Cloud 9? Hang on, are you saying... Wait, woo-wah. Are you telling me that Cloud 9 is a cover version? Am I about to learn something here? Is my knowledge about to be enhanced? Does it mention it anywhere in here? Cloud 9. All songs written by George Harrison, except as noted below. Songs 1, 3 and 5. Well, he certainly wrote 1, 3 and 5. I'll look at that later. Tell me in the comments if you know. Some Beancake, I have heard Driving Rain, and that wasn't good in my opinion. I think there's a good album in there, but just mixed in with it, there's about 20 minutes of extra stuff that just makes it too flipping long. But there's definitely the kernel, the genesis of a good album in there, but it's too long. Some Beancake also says, when I do my next album listening stream, am I going to do a next one? What do folks think? Should I do a next one? I think you should do a Naughties Paul album, because I'm not familiar with those albums as much overall, but I've heard a few random songs. Yeah, I guess that's the question, isn't it? If I do more. So the one that I did was McCartney 3, which was, of course, I did it on the release day, so generally speaking, some people had heard it. There was probably a lot of people who were maybe hearing it for the first time or the second time. None of us were going to be massively familiar with the album. Would you prefer something that you can get to learn to know, or do we go and do a classic? I mean, how much value is there in sticking Sergeant Pepper on, for example, when we all know it to death anyway? I don't know. Have I seen the Let It Be montage from Peter Jackson, says Danny. Yeah, doesn't it look brilliant? They've really cleaned it up. Looks great. You can tell straight away he's focusing on the fun that they had, and I'm not necessarily one for this theory of well, if it's all happy, then it's masking what really happened. It can only show things that happened, and maybe it was the original film that was the one that was given a skewed version. Maybe because the band was breaking up, and maybe because it became a document of the end of the band. Did they focus on the negative stuff more than they should have done? But certainly when you listen to, like for example, Mark Lewis in the interview that I was talking about earlier on that was recommended to me, he goes into length there about talking about when he listened to the full tapes, the however many dozens or hundreds of hours it was of tapes of the Get Back sessions, and he did them on the 50th anniversary. Each day, so on the 2nd of January 2019, he listened to, was it 2nd or 3rd it started, he listened to the corresponding days, and he was saying that, generally speaking, this is a band that was working well together. They were focused, there was a lot of good to be seen in those sessions. So I've seen it, it's brilliant, it looks great, and I'm really looking forward to it. Andrew, did you know that CBS Columbia Records released a letter many years ago that showed the Beatles were all looking to sign onto their company to record again as the Beatles? Well, it's really weird that you should mention that, because if I'd have seen that comment 2 hours ago, I'd have said, oh no. But when I brought this book into the room, because I knew I was going to be showing you it, I just randomly opened it at a page, and I've no idea which page it was, and I read a paragraph. And it was a paragraph that said that in 1979, when Paul signed with Capitol, he had a clause put into his contract that specifically said, it was like some mega $20 million contract or something, but it specifically said that he could do something outside of the terms of that contract if it meant recording with John Lennon, George Harrison and Richard Starkey under the name of the Beatles. So he certainly was giving himself the opportunity to be able to do it. I guess it's that kind of thing maybe. I don't know whether the others also... That might be because it was... I don't know whether that's the particular one that you're talking about, Gerard, but maybe it is. Maybe so. Jack the Lad. Hi Andrew, love your chats. Thank you. Wondering, does Mrs. Dixon have your same musical tastes? No, not at all. We share Oasis, and that's about it. She's a big Motown fan, mainly. Motown and Oasis would be her big things. Cloud9 is not a cover. I didn't think it was, but is it? We need to get to the bottom of this, whether Cloud9 is a cover. I'm gonna Cloud9. This is bugging me now. I need to look at the credits. Sorry, folks, you're going to think this is dull, but I just need to know now. Where are the songwriting credits on this album? Useless. Useless. No, I can't see any. Do I like Crowded House? They're releasing a new album. I don't like them enough to be bothered about buying the new album, but I was actually listening to Crowded House a couple of days ago. Better Be Home Soon and Locked Out and a couple of others. Newcastle Jam live song I was listening to, bits and pieces. Is there snow there, says Jason? There was here. We had snow for about a week and quite a lot of it. Then the rain washed it all away, and then other parts of England got snow a couple of days ago, I think, but not us. Yeah. Fun while it lasted. Driving Rain. A few people are sticking up for Driving Rain. Cool, yeah. But David says, yeah, just too long. I think it is too long. Gerard, you're asking about the Lewison video link. I just mentioned it a minute ago. The fact that, yes, I had watched it. I mentioned about the bit where he's talking about the Let It Be sessions. So, yes, I did. A load of comments just came in. What do I think? What would you think if Giles put together a finished All Things Must Pass version made with a number of bits from the many rehearsals in 1969 for the box set? I hadn't thought of that concept. I guess, well, the big question I would wonder is, because they are Beatles sessions, would that be allowed to? I suppose Olivia and Danny would need permission, would they, from Paul and Yoko and Ringo if they were going to do that? I don't know. It would be interesting to hear. I don't know, because I know there was a few songs, probably more than is commonly mentioned, that they did. David's defending wildlife. Who have you been defending it against, David? Who's been what's been going on here? I think I've missed something. I'm going to defend Wildlife too. It's an album that it took me a while to really appreciate, and the archive collection sort of really ramped it up a notch. But if I put Wildlife on now, I would have a tremendous, however long it is, 35, 40 minutes, whatever it is, with it. Some People Never Know is a song that's just sort of hit me lately, has been absolutely fantastic. What a beautiful song that is. The double, and Anthony says the double Red Rose Speedway album would be an interesting listening party. Yeah, it would. I think if it's on Spotify, so that anybody who hasn't actually got it on vinyl or got that big box is able to listen to it, then it would be a good one. I don't know whether it is or not. I'd certainly want to pick something that everybody's got the opportunity to be able to hear. And I don't know whether that is or not. But yeah, Double Red Rose Speedway, it is interesting. I'm glad it wasn't the version that got released as the final album. We shall see. Glyn Johns, Spectre, Sound of Noise, Phil Spector. What do you say about that? It was a weird one, that, wasn't it? When nobody quite knew what to say about Phil Spector dying, because you don't want to get pounced on by people saying, "But he was a murderer." So it's a tricky one. But yeah, I mean, the guy. I mean, he certainly made his mark, didn't he? In good ways and in bad ways. Not to be ignored kind of person. Tony Maroney, am I an accomplished guitar player? Nah. No, I can, with a lot of practice, I can often copy a lot of things, but if I don't practice and I don't keep up with it, I forget it all. But I'm all right, you know. I'm the guitarist in a band, and we do well, we do all right. But it takes a lot of effort on my part to do what I need to do. It don't come easy to me. You know, it don't come easy. I believe Sean has taken over all business decisions regarding John and the Beatles. Yes. He has, so it looks like Yoko's stepping back, retiring from that, and I believe that Sean has also now been made a director of Apple. So Yoko would always have been that director who had the say, and Sean is now officially, I believe, a director of Apple, which it still weirds me out, the fact that Paul McCartney isn't a director of Apple. He has other people who are directors of Apple in his place. That surprised me when I saw that. Am I a fan of My Darling Clementine? I don't know who that is. Sorry, George. So I don't know. But they've done a cover of That Day Is Done. That's an unusual song to choose for a cover. I might have to check that out. Interesting. Opinions on Here Comes the Moon by George Harrison, if I remember that track. Yes, I did. I like Here Comes the Moon. There's like little lines in there about, is it something like, looks like a little brother to the sun, or something like that? Is that what it says? I like that line. I had our honeymoon video from 1995, just before the anthology came out. We were in the Dominican Republic, and I took a time-lapse video of the sunset and the moon coming up, and I managed to put over the top of it "Here Comes the Moon." That was my choice of song for that, so I didn't expect to be talking about that tonight. Andrew, do I know about the Bruce Spicer book that he put out, Beatles Finally Let It Be? I've heard people mention it as one that I should look into. That's as much as I know. So it's one that's kind of in the back of my brain as when I'm ready for another book, when I've read all these, and when I can finally read these things as well. I've got far more to read than I can ever get through, which is the problem. Luke, looking into getting Paul McCartney Archive series, going to pick up Flowers and maybe Pipes of Peace. Pipes of Peace is a cheap one, yeah, and I think Tug of War's been going for really low prices lately as well, similar kind of price. Some of them you're going to struggle to get, but good luck. Red Rose Speedway Archive Collection is on Spotify, I've just checked, thank you, and I presume you mean that the reconstructed double version's on there as well, so that makes it more likely, that I'll bear that in mind. Is Sonny McCartney the son of Brother Mike? I believe so, yes. Mike's got a book coming out. Does everybody know about that? Mike McCartney, is it like Early Days in Liverpool? He's going to be sharing a lot of his early photographs, and I guess there's probably going to be a lot of the Beatles in there, I would imagine, and probably other Merseybeat kind of bands. I think that's coming out fairly soon, so I'm looking forward to that. Paul was always butting heads with Yoko, wasn't conducive to good business. Well, yeah, I think that's why. I think that's the whole thing why Michael Jackson was able to nip in and buy the Beatles, wasn't it? Because Paul was sort of suggesting to Yoko, why don't we get together and buy it? And they couldn't get an agreement done, and then Michael Jackson just slipped in and bought it, and the repercussions are being felt to this day. Anthony says, do I prefer the band demos from Flowers Box or the Paul and Elvis demos? Generally speaking, I prefer the first ones, the Paul and Elvis. Things like Tommy's Coming Home, which I didn't know. I know it had been out on bootleg, but I don't focus too much on bootlegs. I absolutely loved that when that came out on the archive collection. And the My Brave Face demos, but also the things that they were doing that became Elvis songs. So, like Veronica, for example. Just really nice early demos. Yeah, very good. So yeah, there you go. I think I am about done, folks, because I've run over a lot longer than I intended to, but why not? We were having fun. Well, I was anyway. I don't know whether you were. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. We mentioned earlier on that I am recording a podcast tomorrow, which I've never done before. And I will share details once it's available. It's you may have seen Paul or Nothing was the YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, because that might have links to where he puts his podcasts. That's where it's going to be. I don't know when. It probably depends on how long it takes him to edit it. But it's his podcast. It's probably not something that's going to appear on my channel. It's something that he will be publishing. But we are having a chat about something that's on display here. And it's not all the best, in case you're wondering. But it'll be one of these things, and I'm very much looking forward to it. It'll be different. But for now, I'm going to say thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful, very much fun. Thank you for your input. I'll do another one of these in February. I will let you know when it's going to be, and I hope you all stay safe, and I will see you again very soon. I'm checking out now, guys. See you all later. Bye-bye.